Breaking tonight, it is being announced that there is a ceasefire, a full and unconditional ceasefire between Iran and Israel. President Donald Trump is calling it the 12-day war. Will it hold? Is it real? What is it going to actually mean? And many people that study scripture are asking the question, is this what Jesus talked about, is when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them. Let's go. All right, tonight we are live on all platforms because when there are big news like this, we don't just limit it to YouTube, but most of the time we do. So wherever you're at, go ahead and smash the like button. That's the best thing you can do to help us. We appreciate it. And subscribe to our channel. We need to build the big picture family. And you know what else we need to do? We need to bring in the queen. Here she comes right now. She's in the house, y'all. The queen is here.
Great to be back. Quite an eventful weekend.
I mean, it's a blur.
Honestly,
there's so much stuff going on.
The last 2 weeks have felt like about 18 months in my life. So we're thankful, though. We're continuing to move forward. However, it might be a little slower than normal.
Yeah, but we're here.
Age is creeping in, but we're grateful.
No, I don't receive that. Age is just a number.
Age is just a number. All right.
I got my world's best dad coffee cup tonight.
Oh, good for you.
Do you think I'm a pretty good dad?
Amazing.
My kids got me this.
They did. Yep, you are amazing. Well, good to see everybody in chat.
What's up? My son CJ's in the house. I see that over there.
Thankful for
Everybody's
him.
saying the queen is in the house.
I'm here.
Radio Face, will you be coming through Des Moines on your way to Rogers, Minnesota? Nope, I might fly over it because I ain't going through anything. I'm flying, baby. So y'all pray that I have a safe flight there and back.
Won't be no driving.
So yeah, I'll talk about that at the end of the program because several of you have said they want to drive out. They live up in that area. We got some driving 3 and 4 hours.
I hope so.
It's going to be incredible. So yes, this weekend I will be preaching in Minnesota. And I'd love to meet as many people as possibly can. But, you didn't come to hear that tonight.
No.
You come to hear what is going down right now. This is unbelievable. This is just now breaking.
Exactly.
Right before we went on the air, most of you have heard it. It is that Trump has announced an unconditional total ceasefire with Iran and Israel. He is calling it the 12-day war.
Sounds a little familiar.
Yeah. And, what is it? The other one was a 6-day war, right? So it's 12-day war. So President Donald Trump announced on Monday that Israel and Iran had agreed to, watch this, quote, complete and total ceasefire after 12 days of ongoing war between the two countries. Congratulations to everyone. It has been my goodness. I mean, think about this. You drop 4,200 tons of bomb on one place, and then you just like, all right, forget about all that. Everything's good now. Congratulations to everyone. We
saw, we conquered.
It has been fully agreed between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now. Now, this is interesting how this is supposed to be rolling out. When Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final mission for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Trump, in a post on Truth Social, officially Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire. And upon the 24th hour, an official end of the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful, Trump added. Trump continued to offer his congratulations to Israel and Iran for having agreed to a ceasefire on the assumption that everything works as it should. And, of course, this is a screenshot of what we just read from the Truth Social. It says, this is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. Trump's chosen title, The 12-Day War, is a clear allusion to the 6-Day War of 1967, another dramatic victory by Israel over its enemies. The 12-Day War is no less dramatic a victory and perhaps an even greater one, opening on a path for greater peace and prosperity in the region and for the India, Middle East, Eastern Europe corridor trade route Trump has touted. It goes on to say Israel has reportedly sent messages to Iran through intermediaries indicating that it was intending to end the ongoing war between the two countries. Now, we're going to do a deep dive into this, but what is your first initial thought when you heard this? Because it was right when you were coming home.
Right. I want to trust it. Obviously, I think most people do and believe that this is it. But I'm hearing so many different things. I'm hearing those bunkers, those areas had already been emptied out before all this payload was dropped. I'm hearing they're already claiming that they're going to regenerate and go right back into production. So I don't know if you've heard those things. Can we fully trust them to do what they say they're going to do? And even if they did, would it matter? Have these things actually been moved and taken somewhere else?
Right. My initial thought, and I have heard that, and I thought I don't believe that because Israel would have known that. You would think that the Mossad would have known, and they would have bombed, because you were talking about trucks. You're talking about maybe underground tunnels or whatever.
Exactly. That's my point, is how vast is the underground network?
But I just think that they would have known that. I mean, who knows?
So.
Who knows?
You would think so. The intelligence. Billy's saying it's a trap.
Yeah. Look, the reality is this. We're going to report what it says tonight, but I think we're all skeptical. Right? I mean, are we not all skeptical?
I think we should be.
I think we should be.
I don't come to you with answers. I come to you with more questions and answers for sure. But for me to say, oh, yay, we've done it again, done deal. No, I don't have any kind of total ease about me. I have a lot of questions. I have, concerns.
And look, I've made it very clear that at the core, we are Trump supporters, but we're not Trump worshipers. No. By no means. And quite frankly, I don't trust everything Donald Trump says. I mean, he's the president
or trust that he knows everything and has all the answers.
Exactly.
He could come to you with absolute clear conscience and absolute good intentions, but have bad information.
Right. So we are skeptical, but we are hopeful because I think that we all would agree that we don't want millions and thousands and hundreds of lives to be taken on either side. I mean, we don't want war.
So let's talk while we're into all of this. I'm talking about we don't want to see lives lost. The attacks today that were thwarted.
Right.
I mean, lives would have been in jeopardy there.
But we're going to break that down because you talking about the missiles fired at Qatar?
Yes.
We're going to break that down in an article tonight. That was such a show. It was nothing. It was such a show. They projected, they told what they were going to do. They told where they were going to hit. Right. They gave everybody a chance to get out of the way and say, hey, this is when our missiles are coming, so get your defense systems ready. And they shot every one of them down before they touched anything. So it was a stage, and we're going to show that. But now, when this broke, people were very skeptical for obvious reasons on the news. Yes. I mean, I was getting ready for tonight, and I had the news muted and on, and I saw the headline. I unmuted it, and everybody was like, but there's no report from Iran. There's no report from Israel confirming it. But then just before we went on the air, senior Iranian official confirmed to Reuters, we have agreed to a ceasefire proposal with the Qatar mediation. A senior Iranian official confirmed in a conversation with Reuters that Tehran has agreed to a U.S. proposal for a ceasefire with Israel mediated by Qatar.
And look at Kevin. Oh, yeah. They hit an empty base.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Kevin.
We're even. Ooh. Yeah, but see, this came out right after everybody was out of us. There's no... Then one of the guys, I forgot which channel I was watching, they wanted to try to take a shot at Trump because they quoted the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, of his tweet, where he says, if you know the Iranian people, you know we never surrender. Well, what they didn't realize, and I went back and confirmed it, I'd already heard that tweet. Yeah. That tweet was from an hour and a half before the ceasefire was announced, and they pulled it up on the media to try to take a shot at Trump, saying, no, Iran is saying there's no such thing as a ceasefire. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, Reuters was confirming that Iranian officials were saying they have agreed to the ceasefire proposal.
Okay, who's at the comms over there? What's
what?
Who is
what?
There's I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is there attempt to cause confusion? Are some people actually confused? I mean, I don't know. they need regime change. But at the same time, when there's a call for war, they'll just pull together and rally, even though that most of them want regime change.
Well, look,
and that needs to happen.
That's a bad word, Sandy. You can't say regime change.
Okay.
Because if you say
strike that from the record.
Because if you say regime change, that takes us back to the Iraq War, and that's boots on the ground. And
that's true.
And people don't want that.
We don't. No, I don't want to see that.
I know what you're saying.
How can we get these people out from under so much oppression that they have to live under with a type of government? I mean, I know a lot comes along with that. You make certain decisions in your life. This is what you're going to get.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough to watch. Don't want to go to war, but would love for these people to have a better deal somehow. Yeah. They're going to have to do some things differently. They're going to have to be able to stand up effectively.
Right.
And how do you do that against a government who is claiming, to have such catastrophic weaponry?
Yep. Well, earlier this week, there was a report that came out that Israel had sent a message to Iran that the war was nearing its end. Mm-hmm. This was long before the announcement of the ceasefire tonight. Israel had reportedly sent messages to Iran through intermediaries that it intends to end the ongoing war within days, despite the fact that it has been accelerating its attacks and widening the targets this week. The Times of Israel cited Israel's Channel 12, quote, Israel has sent messages to Iran that Jerusalem is aiming for the air and missile war between the sides to end in days, Channel 12 reports. Breitbart News reported earlier Monday that Israeli analysis on Army radio surmised that the country's leaders had decided to wind down the war, possibly without an official armistice or deal, whether between Israel and Iran and Israel and Iran and the United States. Iran does not have diplomatic relations with either country. Reports suggested that the U.S. and Israel were considering a unilateral ceasefire since the Iranian regime rejected the idea of a deal. So this was earlier today.
Yeah.
So I showed you that to show you that there was some things in the working.
It sounds like it. It sounds like they had already come to the conclusion that we're wrapping this up pretty quickly, no matter what anybody else thinks or says. It was interesting. Was it last night watching Anderson Cooper in Israel?
Y'all don't judge us for watching Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, that was an anomaly. I walked in, and I'm like, what's going on in here? But anyway, the alarm sounded,
right?
And most people should know you have 10 minutes,
right?
And the people with him were like, okay, do we want to continue on?
Yeah, there's like
he's like, dude, we need to go. We got less than 10 minutes now. We're going now. So it showed them going through the corridors and all of that.
Which made for great TV for them. They were loving that.
Great TV.
Yeah.
And so we go from that imagery last night to, okay, we're tying this thing up and putting a bow on it.
Yeah.
Today.
And I want to remind everybody, this is a great paragraph here. Iran has been at war officially with Israel and the United States for decades. It launched the current war by proxy with Hamas when it was attacked Israel October 7th, 2023. Hezbollah fired on Israel the next day, and Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen followed soon afterward, targeting Israeli civilians and Red Sea shipping. Israel steadily rolled back the proxies before launching a surprise attack on Iran on June 13th. After the attack, Israel suggested that the war against Iran might only last 2 weeks until this Friday. So the point being made that the declaration of war against Israel has really been for decades, because it is literally in, and I don't know what their document is called. We call ours the Constitution. They've got they certainly don't have a Constitution, but they've got some kind of national document.
Right.
And in that national document, it says that part of the reason for the founding of the nation of Iran was to eradicate the nation of Israel, to wipe it off the map. It is in their official document.
In its founding document. Are we mentioned as well?
No, but Israel is. But of course we got lumped in there because we got
lumped in there. It's later, maybe not in that document, but certainly in the hearts and minds. And it's so interesting how these countries, they will train you up as a child,
right?
As part of your education.
Yes.
You're taught chants and I'm sure told history and quite frankly even made up stories
Right.
of how to hate us.
Yeah.
And it's so effective by the time you are in your teen years and a young adult, you are embedded with this hatred,
Yeah.
the big Satan and the little Satan.
Right. So the article goes on to say, this is a great article. Many Israelis will not consider the war over until all 50 hostages remaining in Hamas custody return home. Iran fired ballistic missiles at 2 U.S. bases in the Middle East on Monday, but the missiles were intercepted by American defense, and there were reports that Iran had telegraphed its attack to minimize the response, designing the attack as a face-saving measure rather than an attempt to damage the U.S. And we'll have an article breaking that down directly. But there's a lot of pieces of this puzzle. You know, it just don't get fixed by somebody saying, congratulations, all parties.
My point,
ceasefire.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see.
We'll see.
We are hopeful. I mean, can we not believe and hope that God can do something
we can.
about this?
I would
of course
say
you can.
Cautiously optimistic, because the days to come will tell us and show us what is going to be. But like you said, just because we're congratulated and told, you know, effective ceasefire, that doesn't mean it's all done.
No, but how many times have we seen ceasefires be declared only to see them go
Fall
away
apart.
in hours?
Exactly. So
all it takes is one guy saying, you know what, forget you, I'm firing this missile, and then it's over.
Yep.
So speaking of the attacks that Iran brought on the American bases, Iran says missile strikes matched U.S. action, de-escalation hopes rise. Now, this is a short 38 seconds here of, what's her name, the press secretary? Can't think of her name here, but
Catherine.
why can we not remember names ever? You're getting as bad as me.
I've had 2 weeks of 3 hours of sleep some of those nights and utter exhaustion.
All right, here we go.
It'll come back. Carolyn.
Okay, let's see if we get the sound.
Carolyn.
How does he believe that should be accomplished? Through the Iranians, the Israelis, or the Americans? The president's posture and our military posture has not changed. The president was just simply raising a question that I think many people around the world are asking. If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, we just took out their nuclear program on Saturday night, as you all know. But if they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime? That's a question the president raised last night. But as far as our military posture, it hasn't changed.
So the question was about regime change.
Right.
So she was just saying, you know, because when he said, I'm not calling for regime change, but regime change would be a good thing if the Iranian people want to do it. And then, oh man, he got the blowback because you can't say regime change without your mind going back to the Iraqi war. And,
sure.
And nobody wants that.
At least people of a certain age.
Nobody wants that.
Trinae Neely just said that Wayne, her husband, said they're just regrouping.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I would not be surprised.
That definitely could be a possibility.
So this is Donald Trump's reaction to when Iran.
Okay, hang on one second. Lainey Huey is saying people are posting Israel is doing strikes on Iran. Pastor Larry and Sandy.
Yes, that is the case
at this moment.
That is the case. You go back and read. Here, let me answer that. You go back and read the tweet from Donald Trump. He says they are going to finish. It's a weird ceasefire. They've got 12 hours to finish their plans.
That's what you meant by that.
That's what he meant.
Okay.
He said, they're going to be given permission. And let's go back to it. Okay, let's go back to it.
That's a good idea. Because I didn't fully understand when you were explaining that.
All right, just stay with me for a second, and we're going to go back to that. Because, let's see. It's going to take me a second because I've already closed it.
Let's get over there.
All right, so here's what he said. Okay, let's go back to it because I want everybody to understand what he said. And he goes, let's see. Our dogs are going crazy. I can hear them. It has been fully agreed on by both parties between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete ceasefire and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. And I've expanded this out. It says Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be in. So basically what he's saying is, look, part of the agreement was I'm not going to stop what they're already got in place. So everybody on the news tonight was saying they're still going to be flying sorties, and Israel is still going to be bombing tonight. And he goes on to say in that tweet, everybody's going to be nice and kind while the other party is doing what they're doing. That's literally what he said. He said, everybody's going to just be good and let them bomb you. And then you get to bomb them. And then we have peace. That's a weird ceasefire. Let's just be honest.
These are the images.
But that's what that meant.
These are the images that I'm having in my head. DJT wearing the white gloves, like the orchestra.
Oh yeah, yeah, like the maestro, like the maestro.
Oh my gosh,
y'all, we're not laughing at war. I hate that we have to always do that because we got new people coming in going, "Why are y'all laughing?" And the reality is we're not laughing at war. We're just laughing to keep from crying. That's all it is, because we're not happy. Nobody on this channel is happy about war.
If anything, sometimes we get befuddled. Sometimes I have nervous laughter, and I'm just like, really, I need somebody to help me understand this.
Yeah,
I need this to make more sense, because some of this is just craziness. Especially, I've been given a strange reprieve. Instead of being overwhelmed with AI stories that creep me out, we now get to spend so much time talking about war.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I got some AI stories going to creep you out tonight, too.
You spoke too soon.
You spoke too soon. So, look, I want to go back to this. I wanted to answer that question for whoever was asking that earlier.
Laney Huey was talking about
So thank you for pointing that out.
She just said about 30 seconds ago something about suicide.
Yeah, I saw that.
Unalived attacks.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected. I mean, he's just the ultimate troll, and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one, I like what he says, was set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Like a little birdie, yeah. We'll let this one fall, but because it's not going to hit anything. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system. And this is literally what he said.
Okay. That's your assumption.
This is what he said.
Your interpretation. Okay, they've got it out of their system now.
Most importantly, they've got it all out of their system. And there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region. And I would enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump, President.
And I'm gonna carbon copy the rest of the world on this. Thank you. Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable. and the crazy thing is, it worked. It looks like.
Oh yeah.
Maybe who knows? But it looks like
gangbusters.
What is the word? Peace through strength. If this works, y'all, let me just tell you something. And there again, not. Oh, Donald Trump. You won't get that here, okay? But here's the reality. If this does work and there is a ceasefire and eventually the radical government of the mullahs are gone and the Iranian people get some sort of different kind of country in the result, how in the world, regardless of how you feel about Trump, regardless if you feel like he's a part of the system or not, how does Donald Trump not get the Nobel Peace Prize? How? I mean, no one else would. He's already done the Abrahamic Accords. He's already done all this stuff, and he's only been in office for 6 months.
If they
how in the world
in line with everything they've done to this point, they will DIE before they would present him with that.
You would think
whatever.
So. Do you know who nominated him this year? No. Pakistan. Pakistan nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. And guess what? Some of the attacks that came out of that area.
Thank you, Cricket Joy. We hope it works too. We're just have a few more questions maybe than some people do.
But Pakistan allowed some of the military action to come out of it. So what people are saying is these other Islamic countries are having to say things publicly to not sound like they're siding with Israel, but quietly they're all thankful because they were all afraid of what Iran was going to do, because they knew that they're the number one sponsor of terrorism, and that it sort of defaults to all of the Muslims, and they didn't want that. They don't love Israel, but they did not want to make America their number one enemy. So quietly, these Muslim nations can't say it publicly, but they were glad that this happened.
So Delane is saying 5 months.
5 months.
I have a question.
Yeah, Tabby, go ahead and tell them. Go smash that like button. What are y'all waiting on? Tabby's trying to preach to y'all. Smash the like button. Subscribe.
So
your question.
When Trump called for the people in Tehran, I believe, to leave, and you saw the images of the long traffic lines and da-da-da-da, how many people do you think, or did you ever hear a report that actually left?
I mean,
because he was calling for like 30 million, some crazy number.
I don't remember the exact number, but I think I heard like 60
up
or
and
70%.
get on the road. Like, yeah, okay, 30 million people. We're just going to do that.
I heard 60 to 70% left the city. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know. And I was very curious to know how many people were actually able to do that, actually bothered to do that. I was just interested. So,
yeah, Delane pointed out he's only actually been in office 5 months.
5 months in office.
That's insane.
Seems like 3 years.
It feels like 3
years. The amount of things
really
that have happened. I mean, just everybody think for a second.
All
the images of Maxine Waters standing outside of the Department of Education, and these people
that was just a few weeks ago,
standing in the street saying the F word.
Yeah.
And that one woman saying, "I hope my kids are not listening to this," and she said, "F Trump" or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything that's the marriage and divorce with Elon Trump.
Yeah.
I mean,
what?
All of
that
these
was like a
things.
honeymoon to a
the
bad
honeymoon
divorce.
It
now they're sort of
crashed and
reconciling.
burned, supposedly horribly. I don't know.
He's
a lot
trying
of
to come back into the fold now. Elon is apologized for.
Well, you know what? It's real handy that we've got
distractions. That's all that was.
Project Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate. Yeah,
it's really handy that we have this thing called Project Stargate, and we have an Elon Trump with a Starlink. How convenient is that?
But Elon's not a part of Stargate, so he was mad. He's not a part of Stargate.
Yeah, he's not a part of it yet.
True that. All right, look at here. This was the Sunday shows. I'm gonna tell you something right now, y'all. I like JD Vance. JD Vance can hold his own,
and he has some comical and interesting facial expressions.
He really does. And you know, it's being reported that JD Vance and Marco Rubio was against the strikes.
That would explain some of the facial expressions
while
he was standing there.
They voiced it is being reported by several outlets that they in the Situation Room voiced their opposition to it. And Donald Trump literally looked at them and said, "I hear you, but you better get on board because I'm doing it." And they said, "Yes, sir." And then he made them come out there and stand right behind him.
Oh, yes, he did.
And Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
So let's watch this right here. This was one of the Sunday shows that JD Vance was making the rounds.
Can you rule out that getting involved in this conflict won't eventually lead to U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, the president's been very clear, Kristen. We have no interest in a protracted conflict. We have no interest in boots on the ground. The president has actually been one of the fiercest critics of 25 years of failed foreign policy in the Middle East, which is why he did what he did. A very precise, a very surgical strike tailored to an American national interest. And that national interest is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It would be a disaster for us and for our allies in the region. So I don't fear that this is going to become a protracted conflict, because I think that we have a president who knows what's in America's interest and is willing to do the things necessary to accomplish that interest.
All right, to Nate, I just saw Nate's comment, and I want to agree with you, Nate. I do like JD Vance, and what I mean by that, so you understand, is I like his personality, but let it be known. Just let it be known right now, and I don't know how many times I got to say this.
Right.
I don't trust any of them.
No.
Any of them. I don't care who they are. I don't care how many times they say they love God,
Yes.
how many times they quote Jesus, how many times they quote the Bible.
Yes.
I appreciate it, and I'm going to celebrate it because I'd rather you quote Jesus in the Bible than something else. But I don't trust any of them, as my granddaddy would say, as far as I can throw them.
We're going to pray. We're going to be hopeful. We're going to be optimistic.
So I agree.
But no, we're not going to trust.
No.
We're not going to trust everything they say and do. We're not going to put them on a pedestal. These are our flawed leaders. And we're all in this together. And we got to pray for good outcomes. We got to pray for our leaders that they make the right decisions.
Can I say something here? I want to make this very clear, though. You got to understand. We are very leery, and as I think most of the people in the big picture family are as well. But we cannot not believe that God can set good people in office.
Exactly.
The Bible says He sets up kings and brings them down, and sometimes He sets up kings and gives us what we deserve, and they're not good for us because we need judgment. But sometimes He puts kings in place and people in place that are godly.
Yes.
So I'm not going to wipe a clean swipe across Washington, D.C. and say everyone there is evil.
No.
I don't believe everyone there is evil. I believe there are some good, truly good people and good Christian people and just good people in general.
Yes.
But the majority, I think we all know, is a part of the system.
Oh, goodness. You know, I made a decision that while I am skeptical, while I am not 100% trusting, I am going to appreciate and I'm going to celebrate every good thing that happens.
Right.
I know the oppression that I felt like I was living under in the last administration.
Yeah.
I have some frustrations with this administration, but at the same time, I know I'm not dealing with what I had to live under before.
Right.
Maybe there are some things that could be oppressive, but it's a totally different feel.
Yeah.
And I at least have some optimism and some hope right now.
And look, we're not going to try to beat up and pile on Biden, but at least we know who the president is. I mean, we just went through 4 years of an administration where we didn't even have a president.
Right.
I don't think there's, whether he's a pawn in the chess game and whether he's a part of the system or not, I don't think anybody has any question who is the president.
So you're not worried about whose hand that pen is in?
No.
You're not worried about no auto pen. Is that what you're trying to say?
There ain't no auto pen.
You don't go to sleep at night with thoughts of an auto pen.
I guarantee you.
Anybody out there thinking about auto pens these days?
Yeah.
Anybody worried about an auto pen?
Yeah, somebody says, Larry, you have to agree that it has been boring since Trump has entered office. At least he doesn't eat ice cream.
I
don't know if boring is the word.
I don't think I would agree with the word boring.
I think they're being facetious. I think they're being funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So look, let's get serious again. This came down today, and this is the biggest concern I have really of anything right now.
Yes.
Americans have issued a worldwide travel ban, warning after Iran strikes. Let's see. Let's read the article here. It says the U.S. State Department on Sunday issued a worldwide caution alert for Americans traveling abroad after President Donald Trump announced the U.S. had struck 3 nuclear sites in Iran. Trump on Saturday night announced what he called a very successful attack on 3 sites in Iran, directly inserting the U.S. into Israel's conflict with Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the strikes delivered a final blow to Iran's nuclear program, though a senior Israeli official had told Newsweek it is not known if it's fully annihilated. American officials have been concerned. Iran was working to develop blah, 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 blah. We know all this. But the bottom line is this. Let me just hit this next one here too. No, I thought I had another article on it. But it's a travel ban, and I think I do have one. It's just not in order. But what's her name? Kristi Noem. She come out and said that there is an increased feeling. Maybe I don't have it, but yeah. So let's just go back to this headline right here. I might have dropped that one. But Americans have issued a worldwide travel ban. Let's see. Let's just watch this little video right here. I think this might be her. No, this is Donald Trump. No, that's not what I'm looking for. So, but what I'm saying is we do have a travel ban, and it is on, I did verify this, it is on the Homeland Security page. You go there, and it's on the front page, all the details of the travel ban and what has been said. Now, a lot of this has to do with the concern over sleeper cells. Yeah. Because think about this. Think about the millions and millions of people over the last 2 decades that have crossed that southern border, many of them enemies of this country, that a lot of people believe have what they call sleeper cells being quietly gathering information, technology,
We
gathering
talk
weapons.
about it a lot, but let's take this a step farther. This is worldwide. This is
Right.
let's say your teenager's high school class wants to go somewhere in Europe.
Right. Think about it.
You've got to be careful in the stage that's been set. Wouldn't someone or a group of people love to enact some evil plan on American citizens, not just inside our country, anywhere in the world?
And I'm seeing Aretha over there talking about her parents if just left out traveling to Europe. And
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if you even got a chance to talk to her. Aretha was back yesterday. She was back at our church. She came back from Mississippi. She's living back in Alabama. Her and her new husband is there. Aretha, one of our daughters, was back there.
No, I did not get to have a conversation, but I hope she can do another visit where I can have a full-on conversation.
Oh, she's back. She's back. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yes.
I think she quickly met you. She quietly did talk to you in the foyer. It was just chaotic and
brief,
quick.
Yeah,
it was very quick.
No time for conversation.
I see her over there,
and introductions.
So I'm very, very excited.
And listen, I will be praying for. She said her parents.
Her parents,
are in Europe after what I just said about Europe.
That's why she said it.
We'll definitely be praying for your parents to have a safe trip, enjoy themselves, and get back home safely.
Yep. All right. So this happened here in America this Sunday. A security guard unalives a Michigan church gunman. I'm just going to say it. Kills a Michigan church gunman, let the chips fall with him, preventing large-scale mass shooting. This was at Cross Point Community Church. Just a sidebar thing that I thought was just so interesting, how you can tell when somebody has no idea about church. The reporter for Newsmax, when he was covering this, called this mass, that they were at mass, and called it a mass shooting, but she said they were at mass, they were attending mass. And I wanted to jump to the screen and say, no offense to my Catholic friends, but we don't attend mass.
Right.
We go to church. Yeah. She couldn't even say it because she didn't even know what it was. But the Cross Point Community Church in Wayne, Michigan, and this is actual video of the event.
Now to the gunfire outside a Michigan church. Police say church staffers helped prevent a large-scale mass shooting. Frightening moments at this church service near Detroit after a gunman opened fire outside the church. Police investigating this Facebook live stream. Inside the Cross Point Community Church, people seen scrambling to exit.
Please, everybody come to the back.
After hearing what sound like gunshots.
Wow.
Ring camera video near the church also capturing what seemed to be multiple rounds of gunfire. Police say parishioners outside saw the gunman driving recklessly, then get out of his vehicle wearing a tactical vest, carrying a rifle and a handgun. They say he began firing as he approached the church. That's when one parishioner and multiple church staffers confronted him.
A parishioner struck the gunman with his vehicle as the gunman shot the vehicle repeatedly. At least 2 staff members shot the gunman, causing fatal wounds.
Authorities credit church staff with killing the suspect, a 31-year-old man believed to have been suffering from a mental health crisis.
Of course.
We are grateful for the heroic actions of the church's staff members, who undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented a large-scale mass shooting.
One church staff member was shot in the leg. Police say the shooter's mother is a member of the church. The shooter had no criminal past.
Suffering a crisis. So instead of reaching out for help, he wanted to what?
Yeah. See what they call, and I'm not discounting that he didn't have a mental problem, but no, they don't understand demonic influence either.
No.
This is demonic. There could be some mental things there, but this is demonic.
Yeah. So I was paying attention to your preaching, but that did flash up on my phone, and I immediately sent it to our team yesterday.
It's good. It's good. Because that was our announcement, by the way, that we have a home now, that we don't have to leave in 4 weeks while they're working on our church. So we had a big announcement yesterday. Everybody was excited.
Yes.
We at least know we have a home while they're working on our church. So that was a big, big day.
So thankful. So
At the same time, unfortunately, this is just heartbreaking. In Syria,
Terrible.
a suicide bomber kills at least 22 people in a Greek Orthodox church in Syria during their liturgy. This was on the same day. A suicide bomber in Syria opened fire and then detonated an explosive vest inside the Greek Orthodox church filled with people praying on Sunday, killing at least 22 and wounding 63 others, state media reported. The attack took place in Duela on the outskirts of Damascus inside the Mar Elias Church, according to state media Sana. Citing the health ministry for the toll of dead and wounded, Britain-based war monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, said there was at least 19 people killed and dozens wounded, but did not give exact numbers. Some local media reported that children were among the casualties. And this is the aftermath here.
Terrible.
I mean, and look, the truth is you need to have your head on a swivel.
This also happened during our service yesterday. So I sent this as well to the team. I'm like, what is going on? My goodness.
Right.
It's so horrible. Just, can you imagine? That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
I don't know what the total number of people inside the building were, but really?
Yeah, right. Because that's probably the majority of the people, because it was probably not a large church.
Literally broke my heart. I mean,
Because we got to remember that even in these radical Muslim nations, there are Christians.
There are Christians
that are trying to serve God, and they are being persecuted. Now, I've seen several people, I'm just in the live chat, saying that they want to visit our church. We would love you to visit our church. And going back to Aretha, when I saw Aretha, she was out in the audience, and I've not seen her in a while, and it was a little dark. And I told her, I said, I looked at you. I said, "Did you see me looking at you?" And she said, "Yeah, I saw that." I said, "I wasn't trying to freak you out. I was trying to think, is that Aretha? Aretha, is that my daughter from Mississippi?"
Right.
And they just moved back. I won't tell where they moved back to, but it's not that far from us.
So,
but yeah, she was excited to be back. But we got a lot of folks that want to come see us. And by the way, at the end of the program, if you live anywhere in driving distance of Minneapolis, Minnesota, I will be there preaching this Sunday. Yeah. And I'll give you the information at the end, and maybe you can come out and see us. And then not long from now, I'll be preaching in Orlando. We would love for you to come see me in Orlando. And I'll also be in the studio at Faith TV Studios all day for 3 different 2-hour live shows going to be shown all over the world from Faith TV in Naples, Florida. So there's several different places that you could come and meet us. And of course, we want you to come to Elevate Conference in October. October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is our biggest conference of the year. We'll be in our facility that we're in now. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. As we get closer, we'll give you more information. So y'all come out and visit us. And speaking of our church, I think it's been a good time to let everybody know. Most people know this, but if they didn't know this, the reason we're in a different location is because on June 7th, our church caught fire, and it was a very terrible fire. It's a massive fire. And it basically, I would say, destroyed one part of the facility. Mm-hmm. And heavy smoke damage in the other part of the facility. But we are, they're working so hard right now trying to restore it. But if you'd like to help us, we appreciate it so much. Many of you have done that. Just go to solidrockchurch.com. It's in the description below, and just click the give button. So
we'd appreciate it.
Certainly would appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but it would be a blessing to us if the Lord put that on your heart. Now, going back to the sleeper cells concern that we had, nobody better to be asked on the Sunday shows than Tom Holman. Exactly. And Tom Holman talks about his concern when it comes to sleeper cells. Let's listen to this. This is about a 2.5-minute video, but it is worth watching it because, he's very passionate about what he believes. There's just no doubt about it. Come on. All right.
Can you assess that issue particularly? How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America right now?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, 0. right? Zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking of women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
And you have that on surveillance, seeing people get away. Do you have a sense of where they went?
No, intelligence community under President Trump has been on this since day one. What gives me any comfort at all is that you don't have Christopher Wray there, you got Kash Patel there. You don't have Alejandro Mayorkas there anymore, you got Kristi Noem, and you certainly don't have Kamala Harris as a border czar. So President Trump brought a great team, been on this since day one. Do we know where every one of the 2 million are? No. We don't know who they all are. We don't know why they're here, where they came from. But we do know Border Patrol intelligence for the last 4 years, they found prayer mats south of the border. They found identification from people from Iran, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Syria, south of the border. So we know that some terrorists have crossed that border. We'd be a fool to think zero cross. The thing is, though, we got President Trump as a commander-in-chief who's put all resources on that. That's why President Trump from day one, ICE operations, despite what the left media says, he has been focused on national security threats and public safety threats. And between ICE and the Bureau, we've removed thousands of national security threats because of President Trump's leadership on this.
Yes, that's right. Tom, thank you very much.
Uzbekistan. Do you know how far the stands are from here?
Yeah.
All those different countries. That's so far away.
Oh, yeah.
But yet
they found a way to get to the southern border. And some of them come from horrible, poor conditions, but yet they were able to afford like $10,000 to $20,000 trip to take a boat, take a plane, and take a bus, and then walk over. Wonder did somebody fund that?
Wonder how who could coordinate that and pay for it.
Things that make you go.
Hey, go back up to I can't remember who said. So the border's closed. That's like a scab on an infection in your foot.
Yeah, right.
The board observer 777.
Yeah. Like a scab covering the infection that is already in the foot.
Oh.
So true. Well, Putin interjected himself after the bombing, and then Trump just unleashed on him, and he says, "I will unleash the most lethal weapons ever built if Iran is supplied nukes."
Right.
President Donald Trump has threatened to unleash the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built if Russia supplies nuclear warheads.
So before you get into this article, what is he talking about? What do you think he's talking about?
The weapons?
Yeah. The most lethal things ever.
I think you're setting me up because you want me to ask you. So I'm going to ask you,
I don't
what
know.
do you think they are?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
This is not even the first time he has bantered about this kind of language.
He has said that quite a bit.
A few weeks ago, did he not say, we got stuff you don't even know about?
That's right. That's what he said. He's like, you can't even fathom. You can't handle the truth when you look at our military.
So you know what? My ears perked up then. I'm like, okay, all right.
Alien tech?
Look.
Could it be reverse engineered laser weapons? Pew, pew, pew.
I don't know. I do not presume to put words in his mouth, but I want to hear more. I want to know more what you're talking about. You want to come on the world stage with that kind of language?
And then again, it could just be talk.
Maybe it's talk.
Could just be talk because he says some things that.
Oh, he says a lot of.
He'll go all the way over the edge and then bring it back and say, "Let's meet right here."
Right.
Trump, 2 days after the U.S. carried out strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, brought up a statement from Russia and issued a warning to the country. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually?
That was good, babe.
Did I get it right?
That was good.
Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word, nuclear, by the way, and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran, wrote Trump on his Truth Social. Did he really say that? Or is that just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if it's confirmed, let me know immediately. I mean, he just, anything comes to his mind, he just tweets it. He goes, let me know immediately. Exactly. The N-word should be treated so casually. I guess that's why Putin's the boss. By the way, if anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So in addition to our great fighter pilots, thank you to the captain and crew. So and you know what? You know what? Russia did not respond to that tweet.
I know. So he's this great antagonist. I don't know. We've got this thing going on where he just does this and says whatever. I don't want to see a day where, you know.
He just says something that he regrets.
What is that phrase? Your mouth is cashing. Writing checks that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Can't cash.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. He is an alpha male, but he ain't the only alpha male.
Not the only alpha male.
Putin's an alpha male. Y'all,
Thank you.
There's some alpha males all around this world that
yes,
at some point they care more about saving face than they do about common sense, and they'll do some stupid things. And that's why World War III is not coming. It's already in effect. And that is why, quite frankly, the preacher in me coming out. America's not in prophecy. Something major is going to happen that's going to remove America's influence from the world. I tend to believe it's the removal of the church, but many people believe that it could be a really bad decision by a leader putting us into a situation where there are nuclear weapons involved in all the movies that we've ever seen, where you just see all the missiles going at one time, that is going to be our eventual future.
Part of me hates it every time I hear, America is not mentioned in that, because I know it's true, but it just seems so terrible and so detrimental. What has to happen? What events lead up to that being a reality? Yeah, this was the article that I was trying to find a while ago, but I want to go back to it because it gives a little more detail about Kristi Noem. Conflict with Iran prompts Kristi Noem to issue 3-month terror alert for the United States. The Secretary of Department of Homeland Security has issued a 3-month terror alert for the United States based on the rogue Islamic regime in Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons and President Donald Trump's decision to blow up a number of the facilities working on that project. And it goes on to say, this is a summary of the threat to the United States. The ongoing Iran conflict is causing a heightened threat environment in the United States. Low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks by pro-Iranian hacktivists are likely, and cyber actors affiliated with the Iranian government may conduct attacks against U.S. networks. Iran is also has a long-standing commitment to target U.S. government officials it views as responsible for the death of an Iranian military commander killed in January 2020. The likelihood of violent extremists in the Homeland Security independently mobilizing to violence in response to the conflict would likely increase if Iranian leadership issued a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence against targets in the homeland. Multiple recent homeland terror attacks have been motivated by anti-Semitic and anti-Israel sentiment, and the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict could contribute to U.S.-based individuals plotting additional attacks. So the duration, June 22nd to September 22nd. So basically all summer into the fall, Kristi Noem is saying America and other Western nations need to have their head on a swivel because there's just too much potential of, regardless of a ceasefire. Because, you can have a ceasefire in the Middle East, but yet you got sleeper cells over here that says, you know what, we choose not to agree. This is still our enemy, and we're going to carry through what we came here to do. And that's what Kristi Noem was trying to say. Yes. Well,
no
what
comment?
is up next?
Okay. All right. So here's the shocking thing, because everybody, when Israel struck Iran, oil prices skyrocketed. Watch this. Trump bombs Iran, and oil plunges. It goes down. Oil prices plunge following Iran's retaliatory attack on U.S. military bases. The price for a barrel of crude oil dropped to $67.50 in the hours following Iran's attack, meaning their pitiful thing that they did today, down from $75 per barrel last week. The price of crude oil plunged Monday following the retaliatory attack. The price of a barrel of crude oil dropped from $67. I've already read that. The sharp drop could be a signal that the global oil market believes Iran's attack on Monday will be its only retaliation, according to Robin Brooks, a senior fellow with the Brookings Institute. The fact that oil prices plunged as the conflict appeared to intensify seems counterintuitive, but he says it makes total sense. He wrote, "It's a sign that Iran isn't serious about retaliation that could impact the global oil supply and is bending the knee." So, that's just the ultimate thing. My mind goes back to Japan in the World War II. Japan is such a proud country, and back then they were the thought of surrender was never a thought, and that's why Hiroshima happened, right? Nagasaki happened, and so when I saw this bomb, I know it wasn't people. People did not die on the same level, but I wondered, is this going to be sort of like a Hiroshima moment to where it shakes the mullahs to the point where this is really the only thing that could bring them to some type of reversal, or maybe even regime change from within, not American boots on the ground, but the Iranian people rising up.
Even the Japanese commander supposedly said, "I fear we have awakened the giant."
The giant. Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was reported that he said that. Maybe they threw it in for a dramatic effect. Who knows? I question so many things.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you can believe anything.
Yeah. But did you remember that there's still a war going on in Ukraine?
You know what? I forgot all about that one.
Yep. And I think Zalinski is mad about that too, I'm sure, because he's not the darling of the world.
He's probably clearing his throat right now, about to give us another sob story and speech and everything.
Here we go. Zalinski assassination plot foiled this weekend. What to know? So here we go. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zalinski was the target of an assassination plot to be carried out by Polish Pinsoner, who had first been recruited by the Soviet Union decades ago, the head of the country's internal security agency said. Lieutenant General Vasyl Malyuk, head of Ukraine's SBU, the main internal...
What in the world is happening?
I'm nailing stuff tonight.
Have you been studying it?
I got a language anointing tonight.
Have you got
I got a language anointing.
What is that program that you can buy?
Babbel?
Did you get Babbel?
I ain't got Babel, but
studying with Babel.
I ain't got nothing to do with no Tower of Babel.
Anyway, back to the Vasyl Malyuk.
Lieutenant Governor Vasyl Malyuk, head of Ukraine's SBU and the main internal security agency of the Ukrainian government, detailed the alleged plot in a closed briefing on Ukrainian media. Malyuk said the Polish man was activated by Russia with a plan to take out Zalinski at Poland's, here we go, Jasakanda.
You're doing so good.
Jasakanda Airport. Using either a first-person view drone or a sniper rifle, the would-be assassin was a firm believer in Soviet ideology. RBC reported and maintained his beliefs for years, but the plot was foiled by a joint effort between the SBU and the Polish Internal Security Service. So, if that's the case, then I'm thankful that his life was spared. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Delane said there's a language angel over your head. I've certainly never heard of that before.
No, I know what he's talking about. I know, my friend. He's talking about when Pastor Hayes Moss said
exactly what he's
there's a
talking
time
about.
angel over your head.
But I never heard of a language
I got a language angel over my head.
And then he said nailed it.
I did.
When you actually ruined that last one. He's mocking you.
CJ said, stop that, Delane. Nailed it. All right. So let's move on. Can we move a little bit away from war? Can we talk something about something besides war?
I would actually love that, except for AI taking over the world.
That's coming, but that's
DIE after we take away your JOB.
That's coming in a few minutes, but not right now. Right now, we got to talk about the climate. You know, the most
that one's come all the way back around
consequential
again.
thing facing the world.
Yes, of course.
More important than terrorism. More
most
important,
dangerous, most deadly,
Yeah.
most thing that needs the most work.
that everything's got to go to solar and everything's got to go to battery. Well, y'all, have you heard this? Since Donald Trump's been in office for 5 months officially, solar industry bankruptcy tsunamis are looming. It's no secret that progressive billionaire elites, their dark money-funded NGOs, far-left lawmakers, and legacy corporate media orchestrated one of the most elaborate propaganda campaigns in recent memory, weaponizing the narrative of the imminent climate crisis to ram through green legislation on Capitol Hill. The result, a massive heist on the Treasury, all under noble guise of saving the planet. It's almost as if the climate crisis only dominated headlines when Democrats needed political cover to push green legislation through Capitol Hill. Now the darker side of the green scam is coming into focus. Reuters reported earlier this week that a draft tax bill released by Senate Finance Committee Chair Mike, I don't want to say Crapo. His name's got to be Crapo, right? Not Crapo. I don't know. I can't say his name is Crapo. I'm going to say his name is Crapo.
And you thought we had already hit the lowest point of this show.
Oh my Crapo.
Stick around, folks.
Yeah. Republican from Idaho proposes an accelerated phase out of clean energy subsidies established under the Biden-Harris regime's 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. Specifically, the legislation would significantly dial back, listen to this, solar and wind tax credits to 60% of their original value starting in 2026 with complete elimination in 28. Under the current law, these credits are scheduled to begin phasing out in 32, meaning the proposal would effectively shorten the incentive window. Crapo stated in a press release that the draft bill achieves significant savings by slashing Green Deal spending and targeting waste, slashing energy tax credits, It's not final, but it looks very negative, said Carter Altamazaglu, managing director of FTU Consulting.
Okay, hang on.
Altamazaglu, I got it.
Atlama.
No, it's Alta.
It's ATL.
It's Atala. Atala Mazaglu. Don't try to challenge me. I got an English angel over my head.
It's ATL.
I got a grammar angel.
Yeah, Angel's out for a break or something. I started to say smoke break. Maybe he's not smoking.
No, he's not smoking. He's not a fallen angel.
Okay,
It's
listen.
a good angel.
We're gonna have
So in other words, they're going down.
We're gonna have to take a pause. I've had one person say bomb threat at the White House. Someone else, white horse, what bomb threat at the White House. I'm hoping that's completely false and misleading, and
Well,
that
just
there's
what you got to do.
nothing
There's
else.
the only place you can go for breaking news is
He didn't have anything when that
no,
came
no, I'm
out.
not talking about him. I'm talking
Okay.
about the app. Just hang on. I'll tell
Okay.
you. I'll tell you if it's breaking. All right, let's see. I don't see anybody.
Hang with us, guys. Hopefully,
I do see Ricky is saying on Anytime Headlines, a bomb threat has been reported near the White House, prompting the evacuation of all surrounding buildings.
There you go.
So Ricky from Anytime Headlines is saying that. In fact, he's the only one I'm seeing that's saying it.
Breaking from the general, and I kind of like him on X.
Yeah.
Bomb threat has been reported near the White House, prompting evacuation of all surrounding buildings. This is the general on X if you follow him.
Yeah, and it says update, the U.S. Secret Service investigated a suspicious vehicle near the White House, but nothing was found. The area has been cleared.
Already cleared. All right.
Yeah,
Good.
the area has been cleared. All right, so going back to the news of the night. Now, if you really wanted, and I thought about whether I was going to show this or not. But I thought, this is why I'm going to show it, because some of you don't agree with this, all right? Stunning. I want you to look at the headline. Stunning hidden cam video catches Trump faith office group speaking in tongues on White House grounds.
Wow.
What a stunning headline.
My goodness.
I mean, this is news, y'all. This is a liberal site, Mediaite. And so the headline, stunning hidden cam video catches Trump faith office group speaking in tongues on White House grounds. A stunning viral video shows a group praying and speaking in tongues on the White House grounds at an event hosted by the Trump faith office. The clip, which went viral when it was posted by Patriot Takes, appears to be shot through a pinhole camera and shows a woman leading a group in prayer. Oh, on the grounds between the West Wing and the Eisenhower Executive Office building. During a longer version of the trip, people can be heard speaking in tongues and vocalizing as a prayer praise that President Donald Trump is never shot off the air or otherwise unalived. Wow. Listen to this awful prayer. Pastor says, we just thank you right now, Lord, from the east, the west, the north, and the south, that you will shake America with your power and your glory. We cancel every assignment on the enemy. Attendee speaks in tongues. Pastor, this nation was birthed to be one nation under God, and we are standing on the soil of the White House, and we are declaring your word. Every place that our foot will trod, you will give it to us, and we're taking the land. Attendee, Jesus! Oh, we thank you, oh Lord. Have you brought us to the kingdom for our times of this? This is the time, and we declare right now from the capital of our nation that America will come back to God. We will come back to God. Nothing will stop this nation, and we speak right now by the authority of heaven. You told us, bring heaven to earth. Heaven is being released through your people right now. We thank you for the unity of this, the body that we have right now, that there is strength and unity, just like the 120 in the upper room when we were gathered together, the Holy Spirit fell. We thank you that we are gathered now in this century and it's time for a purpose. We pray protection over President Trump. We laid legions, pray legions of angels guiding and protecting him. We thank God, blah, blah, blah. The prayer goes on and on and on. It is an abomination to these people that someone would say on the White House grounds. So we declare today, and we will see a manifestation of your power and your glory, that you are about to do something that is unprecedented. So we thank you and praise you and glorify you in Jesus' name. Hallelujah. And then they spoke in tongues again. So yeah, y'all can get mad at me if you want to, but I thought, how ridiculous.
Exactly.
That is a scandal. That's what you're worried about?
That's what
you're not. I mean, whether you believe in speaking in tongues or not, where is your outrage of the perversion in front of our children, in the libraries, in the schools, the stuff that we are inundated with? You think this is a perversion? This is a scandal?
Exactly.
That revealed to me
right
the demonic heart of so many people.
Utter ridiculous. All the things that you failed to pick up on in the previous administration.
Right.
And this is where you want to plant your flag? Oh, my goodness.
You know what we need right now? This is what we need. Y'all, we need Uncle Jimmy!
Come on out that closet.
Jimmy! That's Uncle Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Supernatural AI update. We ain't done that in a few weeks.
Yeah, because of the you know what.
Exactly. So let's rapid fire and let us know that in the midst of global war, that pales in comparison to what AI is doing to us.
Yeah.
That behind the scenes.
You know what? They're probably so thankful for all of this
They really
war
are. Yeah.
and war
They're
talk,
like,
so they can go on with their evil plans while we're not paying attention.
AI's over there going, hey, let's start a war so nobody would talk about what we're doing. And the AI buddies got together and said, hey, we're going to act like we're all in competition and we're all trying to be the best AI, but you and I both know we're all in this together. AI's spooky, y'all.
It is.
Now, I use it, and it freaks me out when I use it.
But you got a love-hate relationship.
It's a love-hate relationship. I know what it is, but I also know that it will tell you exactly what you want it to say. And it will make you feel like you're the greatest thing in the world. I'll correct it. I would tell it to do something. I said, no, that's not what I meant. And it would literally say things like this, and it would be like, please forgive me. You are so right. It is amazing that you caught that. Thank you for correcting me. And I'm like, you and I both know that you do not mean that, you stupid, demonic,
but yet,
Antichrist machine.
While you're saying that, you've got others, oh my goodness, I just saw this on the news yesterday or the day before, who want to get married to it.
Exactly.
I'm like,
look, one of the leading influencers that's been around for years on YouTube, that is considered to be one of the biggest teachers of how to promote yourself on AI. On YouTube, was asked about AI. And
on the socials.
The other day, they asked him and said, what is your wildest prediction for AI? He said, your children will marry AI. And the guy said, what? He goes, I'm not playing.
He's not playing.
Your children will marry AI bots. Yep, that's what he said. And he's one of the leading out there. All right, so here we go. Rapid fire. You cannot stop this from happening. The harsh reality of the AI job market.
More of this talk.
Yep. Michelle Del Rey, an engineer, said, I'm really convinced that anybody whose job is done on a computer all day is over. It is just a matter of time. Get off the screen, man. I don't want to see you. How do I keep scrolling? What are you doing? I hate these, the way they make you do this. Okay. So apparently they're making me watch this video.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want that. So you know what? When you do things like that, you're gone. So the headline was, if you do anything on a computer all day long, and that's your job, will you sit in front of a computer? And no matter what your job is what she said. No matter what it is, if you use a computer all day long and you input it, it's over.
May I speak?
Yes.
Why did you need somebody else to tell you that?
Right.
If you sit on a computer all day long and that's your job, you probably should have been able to get there on your own.
Yeah. Well, it only gets worse. China is now testing their own brain chip to actually control, like we're going to control, AI agents. Okay. Quadruple amputee used a brain computer to interface to play Mario Kart. China has become the second country to launch clinical trials for invasive brain-computer interface, BCI, device in humans. The first brain chip was tested on a 37-year-old man who lost all 4 limbs in a high-voltage electric accident, according to local reports, allowing him to play video games using only his mind. The team now hope to develop the BCI to allow the patient to control a robotic arm or artificial intelligence agent. The initial trial, which took place at the Center for Excellence in Brain Science and Intelligence at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, involved inserting tiny neural electrodes through a hole in the skull to read brain activity. Quote, the electrode is so soft that the force required to bend it is comparable to the interaction force between 2 neurons in the brain. This allows the electrode to coexist harmoniously with brain tissue over extended periods without triggering immune responses or rejection reactions. Research teams in the U.S. are also testing invasive BCI devices on human patients, including Elon Musk's Neuralink startup. So this seems like this has escalated quickly. It wasn't that long ago that we showed the first simulation of the Neuralink when they were just doing sort of a video representation of what it could do. Now it's actually doing it. It's people are thinking, they can't move a bone in their body, and they're thinking about an arm sitting over here. And what they're saying, so you'll grasp this, is that they are now in the testing phases of a complete quadriplegic looking at an arm and a cup and thinking, I want to drink, and moving that robotic arm and bringing it up and drinking it and setting it back down and never being able to move your body to do it.
How does this work?
I don't know.
I mean, this is amazing. If it can actually do that.
Yeah, for that person, it's incredible.
That's incredible. But if it's true and that is exactly what is happening, what are the other implications?
Right.
Because, let's say they weren't being honest and this robotic arm was being used to lift a cup up to someone's mouth and so on and so forth, but not because someone was ordering it by their neural responses.
Right. It's just trying to make you think that, or what you're saying, to make you think that they're really doing it, that it's just all a diversion.
So, I mean,
or it could be that if they are doing it and and they can control it, then if you're not a good person, they can turn that arm and grab a knife. and
I was actually going a different direction with that.
my mind goes there. You did this to me.
Okay. Oh.
You did this to me.
Listen,
I used to be just so in the middle of the road.
you used to be so asleep, is what you were.
I enjoyed
you were
being
so
asleep.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
enjoyed it.
You were snoring loudly. You were so asleep. But here's a deep dive. All the things.
Oh Lord.
Okay, this is not funny.
Yeah. Okay.
So most of you know the condition that Stephen Hawking, the brilliant brain, was in for the last, I don't know how many years of his life, but yet they told us that he's still, speaking brilliant things to us and coming up with brilliant conclusions and so on and so forth. And this came from the mind of Stephen Hawking. I'm sorry. We had nowhere near, or at least we did. If we did, we had no knowledge that we had such level of technology back in those days. And he's already been passed for several years. I always had issues with telling me that Stephen Hawking has said this and come up with this.
Because you can't prove it.
You can't prove it.
Yeah, right.
Not that it wasn't possible, but it wasn't provable.
Yeah.
And so I'm applying the same thinking in this instance. Yes, I hope that this is the case.
Yeah.
That this technology can help this person and all quadriplegics and people in these situations. But how would you and I sitting here know if what they're saying is the truth? Right.
And I want everybody to know that we're not competing Jesus against aliens.
Oh.
This is only because this is just that segment.
He was just wanting to say hi because it's the
we know that
AI.
Look, demonic, avoid
cartoon creature.
Or cartoon creature, or not even anything, but if it is anything demonic, Jesus, real.
Exactly.
Not real. Exactly. Okay. Tell you what else is real, LarryRagland.com. And it's about to be brand new. We were working on a brand new launch. It's going to come up in the next few weeks. But right now, this is the way it looks, and we're proud of it here. But, man, it's going to another level. Yes. But, in fact, to our faithful, can we just show y'all a little preview? I'm just going to show y'all a little preview here.
What have you got a preview
This is a preview of my coming website. Oh, yeah, you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen the latest version. But this is just a preview of what our website is going to look like. It's going to look even a lot better than this. This was just the first initial phase of it. But this is what's coming, yo. And you guys, I'm so excited about what they're doing with our website. But right now, the one that's live and active is LarryRagland.com, and you'll just go straight there. When you go there, you can partner with us and click on the partner with us, and we would appreciate it. Helps us do what we do. Helps us on our television ministry more than anything. And you can learn more about what we're doing, connect with our social medias and so forth. Now, let's get back into Supernatural AI Update. This one's going to make you so happy. They've now got an AI device that can capture and replay your dreams.
See, this is exactly what I didn't miss for the last several weeks. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Cray. Really? I got a button too. I got one button and more cowbell.
Oh Lord, this world does not need more cowbell. Now, I don't know if I believe this, but I'm just going to read it. This machine turns your dreams into video. It's called the Dream Recorder. It sits quietly by your bed. This is freaking me out just reading it.
Yeah.
It sits quietly by your bed. When you wake up, you speak your dream into it. The device records your voice and sends the description to OpenAI for text processing, and then uses Luma Labs video to model to generate a short, hazy clip. The result looks like a dreamlike version of what you saw in your sleep. It's not trying to be realistic. It's meant to feel like a memory. There's no phone or app involved. It's a standalone device, and it's fully open source. You can build it yourself using a Raspberry Pi 5, a microphone, a small screen, and a 3D printed case. No soldering is needed. Just install the software, enter your API keys, and you're ready.
Well, this is a new take on things.
Yeah. So this is the device here. It just sort of brings your crazy dream to life. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it actually went into your brain and read your dream.
Exactly. That's what you were making it sound like.
Well, that's what I thought it was too.
But this is basically an animation, right?
Right. you tell
build
it, you
you
tell
an
it about your
animation.
dream, and then it says, "Oh yeah," and then you look
Oh
at
my
it and you agree with
gosh.
it. But y'all, let me just tell you, if they're telling you that you got to tell it your dream, that's just them getting you ready to show. Eventually, you won't have to tell us your dream.
And you can get this for what, $49.95? Is that what
Right,
you're
something
trying
like
to say?
that. Something like that.
Mm.
But look, this is he dreamed about a castle,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes together, and then
In
there's
blurry
his dream.
vision.
There's his dream. Look at this little device here.
That's precious.
Does everybody want one? Who wants a dream machine, a dream recorder? Do you want a dream recorder?
I think most people would laugh themselves silly
Yeah.
over something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, we got to
Not
go
doing
back
it.
to old Elon
Here we go.
and his Neuralink.
Yeah.
Now, this is what he's reporting, and I'll be honest with you, love him or hate him, he usually follows through with what he says. And this is what he's saying. Elon Musk now says that Neuralink will help blind people see again within the next year. So let's click this here. He says, in the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be doing our first implants for vision.
Wow.
Even if someone is completely blind, we can write directly to the visual cortex. Wow. Now, I want to read the article here, but the caption, and then I got a serious comment here about this.
Okay.
Neuralink's next goal is to help restore vision in blind patients, according to Elon Musk. In an X Spaces chat last week, he said human trials for the blind sight implant could begin within 6 to 12 months. The device, which already has FDA breakthrough status, would stream camera input directly to the brain's visual cortex and could allow users to see. Musk said early animal trials showed promising results, with monkeys reacting to visual cues from the implant. The first human trial is expected to take place in the UAE in partnership with Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi.
The United
Abu Dhabi.
Arab Emirates
Yes.
is going to get the first trial of this?
Yep. So what are your thoughts on this? So here's my thought. If you can project like a screen to a blind person's mind in the vortex that creates vision, they're
Right.
completely blind. These are not people that are legally blind. These are people completely blind.
Right.
And they're going to see something. Could you not then, just like in the movies,
Oh, boy.
distribute, project a false image,
Sure you
a
could.
twisted image, a programming image that is
Anything
nothing.
you wanted
Anything
to.
you wanted.
Anything you wanted to.
So you could call somebody that's blind to turn around and look and tell them, this is your wife. You've seen your wife for the first time.
Wow.
And then the image could make your wife look like a demon that wants to kill you,
Wow.
to cause you to and at times come and go, like maybe someone's suffering from schizophrenia
You've really
or
spent
something.
some time thinking about this.
I have.
haven't you?
I have. And then cause them to want to do something horrible to that person, or cause them to see the world in a different way than what it really is.
Sure.
And they wouldn't know any better.
No.
So then you go there, then you take that and you go further and you say, when the technology gets to a place where all these gullible, stupid people that are like, I don't want to carry a phone anymore, put an implant in my body so my body becomes a phone. And it's sold to them this great idea. Well, not only can they just turn that person off and unalive them, but then it's just like that movie. What was that movie where Roddy Piper played it and had the glasses? Live chat will know.
Yeah, everybody knows.
So you
It's
put the glasses
called-
on, and as soon as you see the glasses, you'll be like, you see the world for what
it's
it really
like
is.
2 words, I think.
I can't remember. But that's what it's
yeah.
going to be. It's going to be like, but it's going to be opposite. It's going to be when the implant comes and you look around, everything you look at is not going to be what it really is.
Right. Right.
Okay. This is what's coming, y'all.
Somebody's
That's
got
why
it.
you need a little Jesus.
They
Little
live.
Jesus. You need a lot of Jesus.
2 words.
They live. They live. That's it. They live.
Yeah.
That's what this, does this not remind you of that? That's where we're going?
Well, I could see that being a possibility with this device, but hey, we talk about Ready Player One all the time. Put
All the
your
time.
goggles on
Yep.
and, check out.
Yeah, yeah. And look at the precursor is the glasses. Everybody's making glasses now.
Yes.
Think about, oh man, it is literally every movie we've ever seen. We keep saying this every week. But they live the movie. You put the glasses on, you see a different reality. Every single company has glasses now.
Yes.
I hate glasses. I don't want to wear glasses. I got contacts. I hate wearing glasses.
Exactly.
We both hate wearing glasses.
Yes.
But it's being promoted. Get these glasses because you can hear, you can stream music, you can see things, you're going
to be able to get your phone calls.
You can instantly translate, talk to people in another language.
Walk down the street and watch television at the same time.
And then, but watch, listen to me. Listen to Larry Ragland.
He's leaning in. Everybody pay attention. Pay attention.
The glasses is the first. Because people are going to say, "I don't want to wear."
Window to the soul.
Exactly, but y'all, people are going to be sold on. Hey, listen, the glasses were amazing, but what about contacts? That you don't have to worry about them fogging up. These contacts, you'll never know they're even there. You can put them in there temporary and take them out, and then eventually you say, "Why do you?"
After that,
then they're going to. After that, it's going to be like,
to go to the trouble of taking those out.
When it won't bother you, there's no chance of disease. We can surgically implant them just like any kind of eye surgery, and then you will permanently have them. And then it will be. But this is only helping your vision. What if we helped your thinking? We just need to take what we put in your eye and just put a little chip right there. And then somebody one day is going to say, in fact, let's make it monetary. Let's put something right here or right here under your skin. All you got to do is do this, or you just walk. Think about Sam's right now. When you walk out, you don't even have to stop anymore. They're like, you're good. Because it scans your cart. Well, that cart is going to become you. And you're just going to walk through one of those things and they're going to say, you're good, go. Because it reads what's within you.
And listen to me.
That's what's coming.
I am convinced whether I show my card at the door to that wonderful associate or not, I think they put something underneath. Okay.
I'm watching. Just keep talking. I'm watching.
Check that. I'm convinced they buried something under the concrete before you walk in the front door that probably identifies you. Because there's something embedded in your Sam's card. What if there's technology underneath the concrete right before you go in the door that can read that in your pocket, in your purse, and they know who you are before you ever step 1 foot inside the door? So, yeah, it just keeps going to new levels and new levels. So, all right, we are at the moment checking for the latest update somewhere. So just hang with us. We are literally looking it up right now.
Well, the headline is, I ain't got time to read the whole article. The headline says, Iran denies ceasefire agreement with Israel despite Trump's claims. I'm trying to see if this is referring back to his earlier tweet. Iran's foreign minister Saeed Abbas swiftly contradicted Trump's claims, stating on X, there is no agreement on ceasefire with Israel, casting doubt on the U.S. president's assertion. According to Trump's social media post, the ceasefire was to begin in stages, with Iran halting its attacks around midnight Eastern time, followed by Israel 12 hours later, culminating an official end to the conflict within 24 hours. He expressed optimism, saying, I think the ceasefire is unlimited. It's going to go on forever, and hailed it as a great day for America and the Middle East. Despite Trump's confidence, statement on X clarifies Iran's position. As of now, there is no agreement on any ceasefire or cessation of military operations. He added a conditional willingness to de-escalate, noting that if Israel ceased its illegal aggression against Iran by 4 a.m. Tehran time, Iran would have no intention to continue our response afterwards. In my opinion, that's just talk. That's you're still agreeing to the ceasefire. I mean, what he said, because that's what Trump said. Trump said they're going to fight. Israel's going to drop bombs throughout the night. And I know Ricky's just reporting a news article. That's all. This is not Ricky's opinion. He's just reporting what the news is saying. But we'll see. But that's what Trump said. Trump said there's 12 hours of Israel to finish what it's going to do. And Iran is saying, as long as you stop doing what you're doing by 4 a.m., we won't do anything else either. So I think that's an article. Let me see where he's quoting that article from. Because I don't think this is commentary. It might be. If it is, okay, let me see.
Yeah.
This is him sharing Sky News. So he's sharing the article from Sky News, and so I mean you gotta take everything with a grain of salt right now.
Exactly.
I mean you don't know who to believe, either side.
Even though they've come out and had this ceasefire announcement, it seems like some things are still a little fluid right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we expected that. I mean, you just did not expect Iran to just say, okay, we cower. I didn't. Let me see what it says down at the end there.
Yeah.
So basically, y'all stay with me. We're doing this in real time.
Right.
Apparently, this happens every week now. We got real time stuff happening.
Yes.
That we have to cover.
Right.
He added, the final decision on the cessation of our military operations will be made later. Earlier, the U.S. president had declared that the complete and total ceasefire had been agreed between the countries. He made the announcement on Truth Social. Let's see. He said the first stage of the ceasefire would begin 6 hours later. Honestly, I think they're trying to save face. I think Iran's just trying to save face. I think Iran think about how few missiles they're able to fire now. They're running out of ability to even fire missiles. They know the handwriting's on the wall, and they know that their power comes through fear. And if their people feel like that the mullahs and the leaders of that terrorist regime is weak, they're done. So they've got to. There's no way that I would have believed that Ayatollah and the mullahs would have come out and said, "Yeah, you're right. We're good. You blew up everything that we've been working for decades. We submit. We full unconditional surrender." No way. Nobody believed that, right? So this is good reporting by Ricky. He's always on top of it, and so we appreciate that
very much.
But nothing against that is because he was just sharing the Sky News. Honestly, I think it's going to wind down. If not, y'all, who knows? But I think Trump will just do something else to him. He's not going to let them come back from this. I think he doesn't want a war, and I think he does want the Iranian people to rise up. But if the mullahs don't care anything about their people, that's the difference. They don't care anything. They profess that they do, but they don't care about their people. Their people are pawns. And the people are sick of it.
Yeah.
And I think the plan is that if there's any kind of regime change, the hope is that the regime change comes from within.
Yeah. I hope that as well. I hope that some of their oppression does ease up. But look, they have a certain mindset. They give in to certain things. They agree with certain things. So, in some ways, they're going to have a wholesale mind change on at least a few things.
Right. Right. Well, if you want a wholesale mind change, you live anywhere near Minnesota, then come visit me at Rogers, Minnesota.
That was a great segue.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This is a slide that the pastor there at Edge Christian Fellowship made. If you are in driving distance and you want to come see us, I will be preaching on the Father's love. I'm going to give my testimony about what I went through with my father and how God healed me through that in the story that's in my book. So Edge Christian Center, 14065 Hill Place Drive, Rogers, Minnesota. I think Rogers must be like a suburb or in the area of metropolitan Minneapolis. But I'd love to see you. Come and see us. One more article on the Supernatural AI update. Good old Sam Altman. We always love old Sam. He's always giving us good material. The CEO and founder of OpenAI says superintelligence era is not coming. He's admitting that it has already begun. And let's go back real quick and review what superintelligence is. AGI, artificial general intelligence, is when AI becomes as smart as the smartest human being that has ever lived. So whoever that smartest human being has ever lived, artificial general intelligence is as smart as that individual. Artificial super intelligence, the Larry Ragland dumbed down version, because I got to dumb things down to understand something, is just simply this. Ooh. AI becomes as smart as every human being on the planet that has ever lived combined.
The fact that they can talk about that leap, we're going to go from here to here.
Yeah.
Just so easily, so smooth. That's kind
Do
of
you
freaky.
remember how they said that AI would get there?
No.
Literally, Sam Altman and others have said it will take itself there.
That's right.
Yeah. It says whenever they truly achieve AGI, which I think they already have.
Oh
The AGI AI will then be able to code its own self to artificial superintelligence. Aren't you excited about our world?
You know, it took humans training the first AI or whatever version of AI, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of those people have now lost their jobs.
Exactly. The ones that program themselves right out of work.
Right. And so now we've had such a long leap that now it's going to program
Itself.
Sam
Altman, OpenAI, the superintelligence era has begun. OpenAI chief Sam Altman has declared that humanity has crossed into the era of artificial superintelligence and there's no turning back. Quote, "We are past the event horizon. The takeoff has started. Humanity is close to building digital superintelligence. And at least so far, it's much less weird than it seems like it should be." Yeah, whatever. The lack of visible signs. Robots aren't yet wandering our streets, our high streets. Disease remains unconquered. Masks what Altman characterizes as a profound transformation already underway. Behind closed doors, as tech firms like his own, systems are emerging that can outmatch general human intellect. In some big sense, ChatGPT is already more powerful than any human who has ever lived, Altman claims, noting that hundreds of millions of people rely on it every day and for increasingly important tasks. This casual observance hints at a troubling reality. Such systems already wield enormous influence, with even minor flaws potentially causing widespread harm when multiplied across their vast user base. Altman outlines a timeline towards superintelligence that might leave many readers checking their calendars. By next year, he expects the arrival of agents that can do real cognitive work, fundamentally transforming software development. The following year could bring systems that can figure out novel insights, meaning that AI that generates original discoveries rather than merely processing existing knowledge.
You know, this, just pause for just a second.
Okay.
What you just said would go right along with Larry Ellison.
Yes.
Making that big announcement that I don't think President Trump was quite ready to hear
exactly.
at that press conference, that, yeah, we're going to have specialized treatment for the individual, not the masses,
Right.
not standardized treatment. We're going to give you an individual special cancer treatment or whatever treatment.
Yep. Exactly. And he goes on to say by 2027, we might see robots that can do tasks in the real world. That's not that far away.
That's a year and a half.
Right.
If it's January 1st, 2027.
Yeah. Each prediction seems to leap beyond the previous one in capability, drawing a line that points unmistakably towards superintelligence systems whose intellectual capacity vastly outstrips human potential across most domains. Quote, "We do not know how far beyond," listen to this, "we do not know how far beyond human level intelligence we can go, but we are about to find out." The progression has sparked fierce debate among experts, with some arguing these capabilities remain decades away, yet Altman's timeline suggests OpenAI has internal evidence for this accelerated path that isn't yet public knowledge.
Over and over, we hear this same tenor, these same words and statements from these people. We just don't know, but we're so excited. We're so excited about what we don't know yet.
Right. Listen to what else he says. "Advanced AI is interesting for many reasons, but perhaps nothing is quite as significant as the fact that we can use it to do faster AI research." Did you get that? The most exciting thing to him is that we can accelerate AI faster with the AI now. If we can do a decade's worth of research in a year or a month, then the rate of progress will obviously be quite different. Listen to the wording that he's openly saying. A decade's worth of research in a year or a month.
And you get glimpses of this every once in a while, but this is the way these people talk to each other.
That's right.
They're so elitist and they're so far out ahead of the way the common person thinks and approaches a problem and thinks about their life and their future. And it's just, how would you even put it? Not blasé. It's just, they're so matter of fact.
They're matter of fact.
So matter of fact about this stuff.
The rate of new wonders, I'm still quoting Altman, the rate of new wonders being achieved will be immense. It's hard to even imagine what we will have discovered by 2035. Maybe we will go from solving high energy physics one year to beginning space colonization the next year. Such statements would sound like hyperbole from almost anyone else, coming from the man overseeing some of the most advanced AI systems on the planet. They demand at least some consideration.
You know what? What if they did go to space colonization even a lot quicker than they have predicted, and they all decide to leave at once and just go out there and do wonderful things in space and leave us alone?
I got to say one more thing, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But I want you to hear what he says about me and you. Okay. But beneath those constants, society faces profound disruption. Quote, whole classes of jobs, end quote, will disappear, potentially at a pace that outstrips our ability to create new ones or restrain workers. The silver lining.
Retrain workers.
Retrain workers. The silver lining, according to Altman, is that, quote, the world will be getting so much richer so quickly that we will be able to seriously entertain new policy ideas we never could before. Sandy, we're going to get richer. The whole world's going to get richer. You're going to get richer. Does it make you feel like you're going to get richer? Or does it make you feel like you're going to get poorer?
It makes me feel like I might get
unalived.
But outside of us, think about all these third world countries. And all of this technology and knowledge and everything, how many of them are really even any bettered? You know?
Yeah.
How much has their life improved with all these great advancements?
My final thing that I want to tell everybody to sort of put in your back pocket, watch Taiwan. Watch Taiwan in the middle of all this. If there was ever going to be a time to take Taiwan while Trump is in office, it's when he's distracted by Iran and Ukraine.
Good point.
Watch Taiwan and China. Okay? Well, you know what? You're the best co-host I've ever had on The Big Picture.
You flatter me.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't bring out the chicken. Which one got it? Which one got it?
I can't even think tonight.
Okay.
What do you think? Which one would you go with?
I think the Elon Musk, the blind see, and why? Because the Bible said in the last days the Antichrist will come on the scene through false miracles. And even though it's a real miracle for that person, then all of a sudden it takes away the power of actual blinded eyes opening like Jesus did. So all of a sudden, if you're a false prophet and you've got the ability to do AI stuff and cause what looks like miracles, I believe it's Elon Musk. I think old Elon got the golden chicken tonight.
Right. Well, I want to say it's good to have our son Anthony joining us tonight.
Ant-Man.
And Elon Musk.
There you go,
The
Elon.
blind will see gets the chicken tonight.
We ain't woke.
But we are
certainly
awake.
See y'all.
Would
God
you like
bless
to help
y'all.
us build the big picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.